Hi, my name is Cynthia Teniente, and I'm going to be talking to you about homeless population, environmental, and cultural factors. The media has created some stereotypes of the homeless population. Some of those stereotypes relate the homeless with the use of alcohol, drugs, poverty, criminals, and living on the streets. I think that the use of alcohol and drugs are just a stereotype of the homeless, that definitely does not apply in all circumstances. Alcohol and drugs use is common among people who are not homeless, although poverty coupled with the drug addiction increases the risk of a person to become homeless. Family support. The family plays a very important role in the life of a homeless individual. And the first step from the individual's family is to help them to get out of the world of drugs so they can eventually begin to progress. Of course, if the individual uses drugs and alcohol. The next step is to help them gain trust in themselves again and support them by getting treatment on their mental health problems by encouraging the individual to seek or continue mental health treatment. The role of peers. Peer support is the action of giving support to someone by sharing experiences. Peer support is essential for the homeless population. People who have been homeless in the past are of great help to those who are currently experiencing homelessness, as they have a better idea of um, the situations they're going through right now. Some ways that peer support can benefit the homeless population is by decreasing the use of drugs and alcohol, helping them to find a job, or teaching them how to keep a stable home. Also, they help them to get a better quality of life. Homelessness can be a cycle. People who have been homeless in the past can be homeless again. And not only that, they can also affect future generations. Some of the individuals who experience homelessness in their childhood tend to have difficulty maintaining stable jobs. The lack of education lowers the chances of individuals to find a job that pays well enough to cover all their daily needs. Um, this is one of the most common causes that leads to homelessness. About a third of the homeless population have a job, but unfortunately, that job does not pay well enough for them to afford their daily needs. Um, and another cause that can lead to homelessness again is mental problems or the continued use of substance abuse. Mental illness also connect the cycle of homelessness by limiting the individual's ability to get an education, which can later in life leads to the income being extremely low. So, legal and political system. 17 of every 10,000 people who are experiencing homelessness today in the United States. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has implemented programs that focus on increasing self-sufficiency among the homeless population. There are some other programs that help homeless by providing resources like food and health insurance. An example of one of these national programs in the US is SNAP or food stamps. This program offer help so the people can buy food at the grocery stores or any store that accepts SNAP. It is important that the most vulnerable population in the country, in this case the homeless and the low-income families, can have the ability to get food. Um, Access to food is essential for the individual to meet their physiological needs. Potential barriers for the homeless population. Well, definitely one of the barriers for the homeless population is the mental illness. Individuals suffering from mental illness usually have a hard time keeping a job. Now imagine how difficult the situation is if this individual does not have the resources or the economic resources to afford treatment. Also, mental illness can increase the risk of an individual to use drugs and alcohol, which is another barrier for the homeless population. The use of alcohol and drugs plays an important role since um, substance abuse can be really difficult to stop. Uh, in this case, the homeless community is more focused on finding food and shelter rather than stopping their addiction. Another important aspect that increases the vulnerability of the homeless population is the low education level. Some of the causes that affect education among the homeless people are mental illness and also the little education they receive as kids. And education level is a determining factor since it can be an obstacle to progress or to get a better job. International scope. Homelessness is a worldwide problem and it is increasing. The causes of homelessness around the world it may be different on each country, but poverty definitely is the main cause. Most of the homeless around the world have limited access to food, shelter, and healthcare. Socioeconomic status. Um, this includes the income, the education, and the occupation of an individual. The homeless community faces different circumstances that affect their socioeconomic status. One of those circumstances is difficulty finding a job. Not having a permanent place to live can have a negative influence on the individual's ability to maintain a stable job. Race and ethnicity. Um, Race and ethnicity play an important role among homeless population since they may definitely, or it may define the way that a person live and how they die. For example, there's some races that are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes and hypertension than others. And there are also uh, different races that tend to live longer. Religion. Religion plays an important role among the homeless population. Usually, religion benefits the way that a person feels by increasing the social, emotional, and psychological satisfaction. Another way that religion benefits the homeless population is by helping them to find a new direction in their lives. Some practices, such as prayers, can help the homeless population to feel comfort. Gender. Most of the homeless population is men. Women who are homeless usually were victims of domestic violence. Unemployment and the use of drugs are, are the main causes of homelessness among men. Geographical location. Uh, Most of the homeless population in the United States live in urban areas or in cities. The cities where there are the most homeless in the United States are California and New York. In California, most of the homeless live on the street, and in New York, most of the homeless have a shelter. I think that weather plays an important factor to determine where the homeless live or if they're sheltered or not. Um, bias, so racial bias or bias is a very common issue among the homeless population. Implicit bias means that some people do things without knowing they are doing it. For example, if some people think that black men are dangerous, they would be more likely to not help um, any homeless individuals who are black men, even if they look harmless. So this decreases the chances of a homeless to get help. This is very hard, especially if healthcare workers have this type of bias towards the homeless population because of because this can potentially decrease the healthcare provide. Explicit bias means that someone is doing something knowing they're doing it. In this case, many people avoid the homeless and don't even look at them when they walk by. This makes the homeless individuals feel very lonely, and this can potentially lead to negative emotional outcomes for them. International scope, homeless around the world are more likely to have poor health due to unfavorable social and economic factors. Homeless individuals do not usually reach for medical help until their illness are very advanced, which decreases their chances to live longer. This can also lead to the development of chronic diseases such as diabetes or type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease. Um, and because of the conditions that those homeless live, they're more likely to die from the injuries and poor health conditions related to homelessness. So homeless individuals are expected to live less. They're more likely to develop poor chronic diseases, um, and they management because their management is not well, and more likely to die. And this was my presentation. Thank you guys for listening.